Now, it seems members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities are ready for a long-drawn battle over a long-time disagreement with the federal government. Now, the union has extended its ongoing one-month strike by another 2 months. And ASUU made the announcement on its Twitter handle, saying the government has failed in fulfilling its agreement with the striking university lecturers. And one of the vexed issues in the face-off is the integrated payroll and personnel information system, which ASUU insists is unsuitable for university system. Well, a fresh crisis brewed over the matter when the Director General of the National Information Technology Development Agency, Kashifu Inua, declared that the University Transparency and Accountability Solution, UTAS, created by ASUU as alternative to IPPIS, failed an integrity test. Well, ASUU, in a statement by its national president, Professor Emmanuel Osodeke, accused Inua and the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Issa Pantami, of deliberately misinforming the public. And the union therefore invited Pantami and Inua to a public debate over the integrity of UTAS. Now, Tunde, let's begin with you on this issue now. Let's understand more about this controversy surrounding the proposed university payment system by ASUU to replace the government's integrated personnel payroll that used to pay their salaries. What do you make of this back and forth between the government and academic union?
I think, like we have repeated here several times, there seems to be insincerity. If it is not on the part of both parties, then definitely on the part of the federal government. This agreement was signed in 2009. Now, in 2020, they went on strike. 2021, they went on strike. They called it off December 2021 and 2020. The whole of last year was almost strike-free. Now, only for us to go back to the same thing. And about this issue of IPPS, yes, if you say you don't believe in IPPS, well, let us come to the round table. They created UTAS, which the university community believes it is more. Because of the way universities are run, you cannot just say you pay them as civil servants, because there are some people that are even being paid on part-time basis. A lot of things. So university is a community, it's a universe. So yes, I can agree with them, but why has it taken the federal government so long to now subject that UTAS and send it to the National Information Technology Agency? And it also has taken the Minister for Communications to come out and now say it has failed integrity test after you signed that thing about December 2020. So what we are saying now is that, does it mean that whenever the government goes into any agreement and sign it, it will go to sleep again? It will not go back? Because if it has actually laid the cards on the table, as at December 2020, and said that, look, we don't believe in UTAS, let us find another solution. Why is it that it has taken the federal government over a year or another strike for it to now revert back to say, it's okay, we don't believe in strike? It's like if a woman should divorce, or a man should divorce his husband, and you now refer to the fact that after when I was courting you, you did something 10 years ago when I was courting you. You now assume that particular grievance you have 10 years ago, and you are already 10 years into the marriage. Does it mean that you are insincere, or you are trying to double cross somebody, or you are trying to blackmail the other partner? So what we think here is that, yes, if federal government has no money to pay, I think it is better for government to come out. And like the federal government said today, that they have met all the conditions. What are those conditions? I think it is time for us now to subject public policy to a public debate. Let us know which party is wrong. Either the ASUU has been overbearing in their demand, or the federal government has failed consistently over a long period of time to honor an agreement they signed. So the public now deserves to know, because the public is affected more by what happens. Don't look at the university students alone. To any campus that you have gone to in Nigeria, when ASUU is on strike and the academic season is not on, a lot of businesses have collapsed. Most businesses that are done on campus have. So you are not looking at the students alone that are on holiday. All the businesses that are associated with is on holiday. And secondly, this thing is going to affect the rating of our university system in Nigeria. I don't know why the government cannot come out this time around. Let the Federal Ministry of Education publish what they have done for ASUU, and let the ASUU too publish their own one. Let us take that thing to the court of public opinion. Because it will appear as if federal government is saying they have met the condition. As you say, they have not met any. So which one do you believe? So we have to come out, either the industrial court will have to intervene in this for you to be able to explain to Nigerians. Because now Nigerians are in the dark. And I don't want to believe, I sincerely don't want to believe that both parties are deceiving Nigerians.
So, Lekon, would you agree that this matter needs to be revisited, publicly? Because from what Mr. Tunde is saying, whatever happens, the public gets affected. Now, in this case, now the students will be left to sit at home for another 8 weeks. So, what is the solution? Is it the industrial courts that needs to be called into this, or what exactly do you propose here?
Well, my understanding about this is, first, the government does not have the money. Let's first understand that. That's my first conclusion. And now it now begins to play games. You have to give a dog a bad name in order to hang it. The IPPIS that the federal government proposed, the lecturers are saying it does not take care of certain things. I was listening to TV yesterday. A professor at Unife was saying that his payment is haphazard. They will make some deductions over the next month. They will pay. It's inconsistent. It's inconsistent. That one has failed integrity test. The UTAS that they say is 75%, 77% to 85% okay. Government said so by itself. Is now saying it has failed integrity test. What is the meaning of that integrity test? It only says that it is not so much acceptable. What is the meaning of that? Something that was proposed by ASUU by itself, which they have, it takes care of the issues of, as for example, you are a lecturer at University of Lagos. On your 7th year, you go for sabbatical in, let's say, University of Ife. Your salary for that 1 year in Unilag will be paid. And your salary in the other place will also be paid. IPPIS does not take cognizance of that. And then you and I know, how many universities do we have in Nigeria now? The universities are understaffed. Go to the university and go and see a lecturer attending to 1,000 students inside one class. How does he grade? How do you grade them?
Using public address system.
Using public address. You don't even have. I used to have lecturers who knew me one-on-one, and we are still friends today in that same University of Lagos. When we were in the undergrad class, maximum we were 42, and they said we were too many. Now that's undergrad. PhD classes, you will see 50 students. MSc, you will see there's part-time, and then there is the other one, full-time. And the lecturers are going through
and there's
both.
Professional,
say again?
Professional, those who MBA.
MBA, executive MBA, all the rest of them. These same human beings are the ones. Please, Esther, how do you sit down and teach 1,000? Why is that possible? And then there are no textbooks.
You can't even mark 500 students. You
get into the laboratories, there are no reagents. Nothing to work with.
So are you trying to say now that the UTAS takes care of all these concerns? It takes care of the emoluments, remuneration issues.
Okay. But they are also talking about autonomy of the university.
That's the system.
Which IPPIS does not support. Do you understand? So the issues, I think I said this on this set about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I am biased towards ASUU because of what I have seen. How do you listen? For the first time I'm saying this. How can a teacher stand in front of 1,000 students and is teaching them? How does he get across? How do they even grade the examinations, the scripts? How do you grade it to start with? And then the equipments that you, I was in a mathematics class. You know, as the lecturer is writing things on the blackboard for you, the sun came in and there was a reflection. The man was talking to himself. We couldn't get across to him because it's an MSc class. We were about 500 of us. in a mathematics class. The man was just talking to himself. I don't know how a lot of people passed that course. These people are working in, I've seen this thing, you know.
The work conditions.
Yes, I've seen it. So, like I said, I'm sorry if I seem to be a bit biased, but it's just, and then, in any case, government is government. Government is supposed to provide certain things. And at the same time, and the government is vicariously responsible for what is happening. When you don't run the economy well, there's poverty in the land. Anyway, by the time we start talking about the diesel thing, you're not running the country well. You don't have a system that runs well, so that there will be. This country has so much resources, human and material resources, and people are going to Ukraine. Nigerians are saying that they want to die in Ukraine. Nigerians they are asking them to come and pay $1,000 for visa and transport fare to go and fight for Ukraine.
But the foreign affairs minister that said he's not going to allow such a thing happen.
Yeah, but it happened. It just shows you the level of desperation in this country. And then, do you know how many? I went for the funeral of a friend 2 Fridays ago in Abeokuta. He died in America. This man was in final year when I was in year 1 in UNILAG. He went to America, got his PhD, and came back, and he was teaching. He was the first of the 3 first class in his set. There are 3 first classes. He was the first. He was the best overall students. He graduated. He did chemical engineering, master's statistics, PhD back in chemical engineering. This man is a genius. He was one of the people who composed Nigeria's national, the current national anthem of this country. He was frustrated out of this country, including somebody stealing his laptop inside his office, inside of the University of Lagos. What level of frustration are people dealing with?
Okay, we understand your passion about this matter, Mr. Litcombe, but the thing that I want to really understand here is the University Transparency and Accountability Solution, which being canvassed by the academics.
Yeah.
You know, you've raised some valid points here, but does this in any way solve the problem? A lecturer to 1,000 students and maybe work conditions and all of that, but does it really solve that? Because their concern is the payment.
I have said something that I am sure that the government does not have the funds. And because the government is not running the economy well, that's my first position. Section 13 of Nigerian Constitution says security and welfare, meaning economics.
Right.
Listen, economics comes from 2 Greek words, oikos and nomos, which means house management. That is what is called economics. The government, all the governments we have had so far, none of them is managing the economy well. And then look at the insecurity. Nigerians are running away from this country because people are running away. People don't want to come. I have a younger brother in America. He says if I want to see him, he can't come to Nigeria, but he's willing to meet me in UK.
Right.
That is the problem that we have in this country. They are not running this economy well. That is, in fact, all this we are even discussing. I think we should not even discuss it. Let's discuss the economy of this country.
All right, let's quickly take this call from Ibadan. Olushola, please go ahead with your contribution. You're live.
Yes. Thank you very much. Good evening. I'm Olushola Julius from Ibadan, your state capital.
Good evening.
Mr. Lekon Shote, good afternoon, sir. Mr. Abaton, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yes. Now, in this country, I would like to say something that it seems we are now in a democratic orphan. We are now a democratic orphan where we don't have leaders, good leaders, or we don't have father. Why? Because, you see, we are being jettisoned to do things on our own. Educational sector is now in comatose. Even the private university that people are running to now, they are being treated, they are just like glorified secondary school. They are being treated like students that are just coming out of secondary school. Now, who is lying among federal government and ASUU? Federal government says they are not owing them anything. ASUU says they are yet to be paid. So we don't know what is really happening. We don't know exactly what Ministry of Education is doing on this issue. 2 months again. Honestly, I don't know. Insecurity will now increase and crime rate will now increase in our society. And these are the things that our government need to take care of so that we'll have a better society.
All right, Olushola, thank you very much for your contribution. We appreciate your insights there. So, Tunde, with what he said so far, and taking a cue from our caller. You know, the concerns that many have been asking is, why are we having this issue? Because some have said there should be a better way to have differences resolved as against going on strike. Because at the end of the day, the students get to suffer. And already the students are joining the call with ASUU in joining them for the strike, you know, to ensure that their demands are met. But from your own eye, from your own perspective, do you think perhaps strike is the best option?
Well, you see, people look, I have a son in the university. You get it, one of the first generation university, whether you like it or not. So what I'm saying now is I am just being practical. Look, like he said, you only need to visit the university campus and to know what people are going through. If a lecturer, he was just being nice by saying there are 1,000 students. No lecturer can mark 400 sheets, answer sheet of any student. It is not possible. You will have to give it out to some people. I've had called to supervise somebody who was a lecturer in the Polytechnic and help him to grade about 200 students who have to write their thesis. So is it possible? So we are talking about, but I think what is actually happening is that we have to be sincere with ourselves. Professor Wole Soyinka said something some years ago, where it may sound outlandish. I think we should close down our university system for 1 year or two and do a summit on education in Nigeria. But unfortunately, those
what good would that do?
All those who are in government in Nigeria, the good we do is that let us examine ourselves and see the kind of education system, if we have any education system. But what it means now is that there's no education system in this country. If we have an education system, we will sit down and say, this is the resources we have in this country. This is how to prioritize these resources. But unfortunately, the elite, that is the ruling elite in Nigeria today, they are immune from this rot because they can easily send their children out of Nigeria. But the question I keep on asking is that, when you sit down, let them go back to the classroom. Are we producing employable graduates with this particular thing we have? Are we producing employable graduates? Are the lecturers happy? Because this is the economy. This is the 21st century economy we are running. We are not, the technology in the country is not going back. If you buy a new generation car now, you cannot afford to go, if there is an electrical problem, you cannot afford to give that car to a mechanic by the roadside. The person has to know how to configure the car, how to scan the vehicle. Because without scanning, you cannot diagnose. Right. And without a proper diagnosis, you cannot begin to repair. So the problem now is that for us to diagnose the problem we have with the education system, let there be for 1 year and let us sit down sincerely. But unfortunately, the really elite in Nigeria today, I think they are very wicked. And they are being selfish.
Esther, you are asking if it is practical. It is practical.
And what good, actually, I asked?
Wait, yes. Let's first understand it is practical. All it will happen is that there will be no admission.
Yes.
For some time. And you say for 1 or 2 years, and those in the university, they will clear out, and then they will now sit down and do a proper assessment of what do we even have. What are the deficiencies? What assets do we have? What infrastructures do we have for the educational system in Nigeria? What do we have? Where is it? Listen, I was discussing with somebody 1 or 2 days ago when the old Western region was going to introduce free education.
Yes.
It wasn't just 1 day. They sat down, they planned and said, we want to do free education. Give me a paper. How do we operate it? The paper, they went through the paper. I'll say, okay, good. Now, this will require financing. Okay, how do Minister for Finance, come, give us a program, a paper on how we can source the money and then how we spend. The Minister for Education, when you get the money, what are you going to spend the money for? Then the people who are, you remember, they commissioned people, they knew people who are good writers and say, look, you need to write textbooks for us. So those things were ready. So by the time education was going to take off, are you saying there was no education at that time? People were going to school, but they knew that they wanted to do something. It took them some 2-3 years. They planned it, and I can tell you for free that the southwestern part of Nigeria, including Edo and Delta State, whether you like it or not, that is why this is the hub of media in Nigeria. This is where, in the southwest, if in Lagos, this is where it is happening because of the high level of education, the basic education of the populace.
All right, let me hold your thoughts. Let's quickly take this call from Joss. Please go ahead with your contribution. Hello, go ahead if you're live.
Okay. The problem you're having in Nigeria, yes. The problem. Thank you for allowing me. The problem we are having with ASUU and the federal government is this.
Well, listening, go ahead.
The problem we are having is that the politicians, they don't have our interests at heart. They are ruling us, and they want their children to come and rule us. That is why they are giving room to the private universities rather than investing in the federal government, the state government, the state or federal government universities. They don't have our interests at heart. They rule us, and they want their children to come and rule us again. So the problem is the politicians and not the ASUU. That is to my.
All right,
thank you very much.
I appreciate your contribution on the show. So Tunde,
to add to what he said, according to the blueprint that was published in 1952, when the Western Region government decided to implement free education in January 1955, there was no acceptable census then. The government has to conduct and consult an American who did a map survey of Western Region.
That's right.
At the end of the day, they were able to suggest that 440,000 pupils of school-going age will be ready for primary school by January 1955. Yes.
And they planned.
And they planned 1952. By the time they made the announcement, you know, it still happened when I was in primary school. Before you were enrolled, you make an announcement. Yeah, come and register. They leave 3 months opportunity for parents to take their children to school. If they do your hand like this,
yes.
If it is not up like that, they will ask you to go and stay at home. I have to stay at home for 1 year because I was very close to the ground when I was 5 and 6 years old. Praise the Lord. Yeah. So the thing is that by the time they came out in June 1954 with the figure, the enrolled people, they told that there are about 940,000 students of school-going age that will be going in January. What happened? What did the Western Region government did? They started building school, expanding facilities, constructing shares, like he said, or you're asking publishers to start publishing school. So for that 6 months period, they were able to cover, they created many teacher training colleges.
Yes.
And some of that is the essence of planning. What I'm saying is that if a government is so sincere about education in the first instance, it could not plan for education. So it means is that why are we going back and forth? If we are really serious about education, like he said, I believe the ruling political elite in Nigeria, they are very selfish, and I keep on saying it. But unfortunately for them, today we have 15 million children in Nigeria who are out of school, which means we have a potential 15 million Boko Haram in Nigeria.
And it's work together.
Yes, in Nigeria. And when you have that, come and tell me how your children are going to enjoy that money. It is not possible. Nobody pray that your son will go to Harvard, and when he gets to Murtala Mohammed Airport, armed robbers will shoot him before your driver takes him home. Nobody pray for that. But there was a time I told somebody that, do you pray for that? Because you fail to train them. So the thing is that if we close down for 1 year and let us do a census of all the institutions we have in Nigeria today, primary school, secondary school, how many students do we have? How are we going to house them? What kind of education policy? We have a lot of gaps in our education. Not everybody is supposed to go to the university. Not everybody is supposed to go to the polytechnic. Yeah. There are some people that are supposed to go to technical colleges. Basically, I don't know why they keep on phasing out teacher training colleges. I don't know why we keep on closing down national college educations, because they have their own role they are playing. But everybody now wants to go to university. Most of those people who end up in university, they cannot impart knowledge, because you can have a BSc in education and not be able to teach. We seem to have gotten everything right. So except the best thing we can do now, let us be sincere with ourselves, and for 1 year, and let us study our needs for education, and now begin to put it right. That
study
is the only
our
thing we can
needs
get.
for 1 year. What's your final position on this matter? Right.
You see, if it is true that a senator in Nigeria is earning $353 million naira per annum,
24 million per month.
To do what? What kind of job? What is he doing? Do you understand? I think it was a commissioner or somewhere in the north. He had, they say, 200 special assistants and all these kind of people, and you are paying them for doing no job. They come and tell me that there's something called security vote. There is police. Is that not security? There is army. There is air force. There is DSS. All those are security. They still say the governor has security vote. There's so much things that they are wasting our money on.
My brother,
we do not have the priorities.
Sometime in 2020.
Right, before we bring in your suggestions on this matter, let's take this call from Port Harcourt Treasure. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Good evening.
Good evening, Treasurer. We can hear you live. Please go ahead.
Thank you for...
Hello, Treasurer.
Bring it down to pidgin English, where every woman will hear me. I'm a mother.
No problem. Go ahead. We understand you.
Children in the university. After all this problem, these children will come and stay two more months or 8 weeks in the house. In the house, and we are suffering. No food to eat, no money to pay house rent, no nothing. God is not doing anything. They don't want these children to carry gun and come to government house and kill them before they will change this country. I don't understand the kind of country that we are. Every day journalist will be talking, nobody will listen to them. There is no amendment. The government don't want to hear. Nobody wants to hear. And they are keeping suffering for these children. Is that the best for us?
Thank you very much, Treasurer. We appreciate your contribution. Thank you so much for that.
As I was saying, in 2020, a young man won a by-election, I think it's from Kaduna State, into the House of Representatives. So when he was sworn in, after he was sworn in, before he made his speech, that he now told the House that I want to show that I am not only powerful in the House, I am also powerful at home. And he showed Nigerians he brought his 4 wives to the chamber of the National Assembly to show Nigerians that that is what. Is that what you are teaching? Purpose? For what purpose? He now display 4 wives. A young man who must have about 24 children, as confessed.
Yeah, he just got another one about a month ago.
And is this showing Nigerians that young Nigerians that is what they should do? And here you say these boys are into Yahoo and some other things. Is that the kind of leadership we should be exhibiting in Nigeria? I pity that the National Assembly leadership too even put that one on camera.
All right, let's sincerely hope something gets done for the sake of our children who are still at home instead of it to be in the classroom. Hard times are here, no doubt about that. What is left for debate is the way out. Now, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria is seeking urgent intervention from the federal government to support production of goods as diesel prices soared above 720 naira per litre. And speaking in Ibadan, the chairman of the Association of Oyo, Osun, Ekiti and Ondo Zone, Larry Pukwola, said that the increase in prices of petroleum products and lack of power supply are crippling production in every sector. Now, Pukwola noted that if the situation persists, it could worsen the economy and increase hardship among Nigerians. Meanwhile, bakers under the aegis of a Premium Bread Makers Association of Nigeria are threatening total shutdown of operations following rising cost of diesel in the past few days. Well, the president of PBAN, Emmanuel Onwara, warned that a total shutdown of operations by bread makers is imminent due to the continued rise in the price of diesel and other commodities. Now, Tunde, let's quickly examine this matter. This is a dire situation we are in right now with the cost of diesel rising high. Well, this is partly due to the rising prices of crude oil since the Russian-Ukraine war began. Now, what do you think are the likely implications and consequences, saying that the Bread Makers Association are also threatening a total shutdown because of the price of diesel?
Well, to tell you already, before increasing the price, bread is already out of the reach of the common man. I have to be sincere. Before you can buy a bread now, you buy a bread for 200 naira now. It's not enough for a 2-year-old boy. You will devour it in your presence. A bread of 200 naira, a 2-year-old can devour it. So you can see the extent to which the economy has come down. But what I just think is that, you see, we are suffering for lack of vision by our leaders. Nigeria is supposed to be reaping bountifully from what is happening in the between Ukraine and Russia. But unfortunately, today, like a friend was telling me, called from Chicago last week and said a liter of fuel now sells for $3. That is in an economy where they have many alternatives to transportation if you want to take your car out. Now, which means is that even when you buy $3 in Nigeria, how much is $3 in Nigeria per liter? That is about 1,200.
Okay,
1.5 per liter. Yeah. So what it means is that we now take our crude down there. For as long as the price of crude is going up in the international market, we continue talking about subsidy here because NNPC has no capacity to begin to continue to subsidize. So there is no end to subsidy unless there is a refinery. But we have a government that promised that they will fix the refinery since 2015. This is 7 years going now. I want to tell you that only last year they said they signed a contract for $1.5 billion to retool our refinery, turnaround maintenance. I want to assure you, I have been hearing of TAM since when I was in secondary school. I don't know what they have turned around at all. So if you are spending $1.5 billion to turn around 3 refineries, and somebody, Dangote, can build a refinery within 5 years, I think something is wrong with us. We cannot maintain a refinery, and you keep the refinery in abeyance. I don't know what government is going to use to campaign to Nigerians next year, because they promised to build 4 refineries. The Kaduna refinery is totally dead. The Port Harcourt and which is the other one? Warri refinery, they are producing below capacity. And what we heard is that Nigeria had a part with NITDA. NITDA had a refinery that is refining 200,000 barrels per day. And what NITDA only need is 50,000 barrels, which means the 150,000 barrels is going to be exported back to Nigeria. In Nigeria, that was loaning money to Turkey and some other things. Something definitely is wrong with our leadership system. And it is incompetence. It is incompetence.
You know, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria is also asking the government for an urgent intervention with regards to the rising cost of diesel. And they're also raising concerns about the level of power supply in the country. If we have constant power supply, perhaps we wouldn't be relying on diesel, wouldn't you think?
Yes, sir. I was general manager of a medium-sized textile factory for 10 years. And I also managed the accounting function, as well as being the general manager. So this, just listen to me. There are some things called boilers. Whether you are using generator or NEPA, boilers consume diesel.
Right.
That is staple for manufacturing companies, textile, breweries, all kind of boilers. There is steam boiler, there is oil burner. That one is burning oil. It's burning diesel directly.
So is it that the power supply from the
it
national
supplies
grid
the
cannot...
machine to start? No, it's those. You have a printing machine. You have a boiler that powers the printing machine. So the printing machine cannot work on its own without the boiler powering it.
Right.
So the boiler drinks fuel, drinks diesel to start with. Okay? Now, so your cost of energy is twofold or threefold. The cost of the diesel or black oil sometimes, because that one is cheaper, to power the boilers or the oil burner. That one, when you hear oil burner, that one is burning oil. Boiler boils water, the steam that powers those machines. Now, that one, whether you are using generator or whatever, you are already paying for, you are burning diesel to start with. Now, our what we call PHCN, or I don't even know what is the name these days of these things that
PHCN.
You see, it's PHCN. Okay.
Power holding company.
And they actually hold the power, really. You know, so this, when I was running this medium-sized textile factory, we were paying what is estimated bill, whether we run
or not.
Whether
there's a fixed bill that you have to
we are paying, and then the generator is the electricity. NEPA is standby. We were working, running purely on
diesel.
So now, if you are running a manufacturing factory and the cost of energy, it is just one of the costs.
Cost of one of the variable costs.
It's already 40 to 50%. You are running at a loss. I can tell you for free, you are running at a loss. If you have, and sometimes if you are not careful, well, except it's a service industry, whereas insurance company, advertising agency, banks, yes, you have higher bills for running but where you are manufacturing widgets, if the unit cost, you have 40 to 50 to 60%, sometimes 80%, you're already running at a loss to start with. So that is a problem that we have. It's built in, for example, for high capacity industries. And so these people that are talking, the manufacturing association, what they are saying, they are actually crying. Is this thing, what they say they are talking about, they are crying because they are they are locked in. They can't escape from where they found themselves, and the government's policy is not helping. We do not have proper, relevant macroeconomic policies in this country. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, who is supposed to be running the economy, she is missing in action. We don't even know if she's there. I don't even remember her name. Then the governor of Central Bank, whose job is just to manage monetary policies, is the one running macroeconomic policies. And the man is getting confused.
All right, let's quickly click Zoom call. We have, for more insight on this issue, is the National President of the Premium Bread Makers Association of Nigeria, Emmanuel Onora. Good to have you on the program this evening. So we understand that the Premium Bakers Association is threatening to shut down operations following the rising cost of diesel in the past few days. Fill us in on how soon this might take effect and the possible implications of this.
Good evening, Esther. Good evening, Mr. Tunde Abata and Lekon Shote, and good evening, viewers at home. For the premium bread making industry and the bread making industry generally in Nigeria today, we find ourselves in a very precarious situation where in the next 1 week or two, if care is not taken, businesses will begin to shut down. As I talk with you now, some of my members, I just got the information today from my PRO, that's my Public and Industrial Relations Officer, that about 5 or 6 of them shut down today. What does it portend for the country? Exacerbation of the already precarious unemployment problem. When this whole brouhaha started, before now, we were buying diesel at $3.50 per barrel. And fortuitously, one of my members predicted that if care is not taken, that diesel will be going for 1,000 naira by the end of this month. Last week, the price jacked up from $3.50 per liter to 410. In that same week, it rose to 450. From 450 by Monday, by Saturday, it was already 850. Yes. So, and diesel is a key component of the energy we use in running our bakeries. We use diesel to power our generators. Of course, like Leko was saying, there is no power anywhere. In fact, in my bakery for the past 3 weeks, I've never had a public light. I've been running on diesel 24/7. We run our delivery vans because we do a lot of deliveries. We run our delivery vans using diesel. And then most importantly, we run our oven. Our oven is powered dually. We use about 80% of our diesel to burn your burners, to be able to power and bake your bread.
Boiler.
And then a little component of electricity to it. So you can see that it is a huge part of what we use in producing and churning out bread for Nigerians. So as I speak to you now, at 850 naira per liter of diesel, it's a no-brainer. Businesses are certainly going to shut down. And for the Premium Bread Makers Association of Nigeria, we're just putting the government on the know. It's not hearsay. We are going to shut down. That's the truth, because we can't do anything any longer. There's no power. Last week, they increased flour by 1,000 naira. Flour is going to about 22,500 to 23,000 in certain areas. Of course, that makes up about 65-70% of our inputs. Sugar increased from 21,000 to 23,500. You can see this whole thing comes together. It comes to a head and is giving us a lot of problem in the businesses. There is no business that can survive without being profitable. All right,
with this rising cost implications, pardon me for interrupting your flow of thoughts there. With this rising cost you've outlined so far, are we also looking at the rise in the price of bread?
It goes without saying.
Well, you have to pass on your costs. But for how long can you keep doing this? As Nigerians and as corporate citizens in this country, we have brothers and sisters that are out there. The fact that we own bakery does not mean that we are diverse from the sufferings of the average Nigerian of today. If I may ask you a question, Esther, how much do you think a bread can go for? A sliced bread in some places now is going for as much as 750 naira. Expendable income in people's pocket has vanished. Yes. The government has not even done anything to increase the minimum wage. So people are suffering. If you look at people's faces on the road, you know, people are looking very forlorn. People are looking very angry. People are very agitated. You understand me? Any little thing, you see people resort to brow, fisticuffs everywhere. Why? Because people are frustrated. Bread is a staple that is meant to be in the table of every Nigerian. It's not supposed to be something that is a luxury. It's a basic, it's a staple. But to be very honest, bread will soon go out of the table of the average Nigerian, because it is not when you produce that you can even sell. When we shut down and we cannot produce, we are not profitable, we are not charity organizations. What do you expect?
So let's quickly go on a quick break. Mr. Emmanuel, apologies, I have to hold your thoughts there. We need to go on a very quick break. We'll have more discussions on this very issue when we return after the break. Do stay with us.
The Nigerian Army wishes to inform the public and all interested qualified candidates of the commencement of online registration for 83 regular recruits intake for non-tradesmen and women into the Nigerian Army. Applicant must be single and Nigerian citizen by birth and must possess national identity card, national identification number, and BVN. All applicants must be medically, physically, and psychologically fit and free of any criminal conviction by the court of law. Applicants must possess at least 4 passes in not more than 2 sittings in WASI, GCE, or NECO at O level, including English language. An applicant must possess a valid birth certificate or valid age declaration. Applicant must not be less than 18 years and not more than 22 years as at commencement of training by 8 August 2022. Applicants must possess a valid certificate of state of origin. Interested candidates are advised to log on to the Any Recruitment website to complete online registration from 7th March to 13th May 2022. Selected candidates will participate in the state recruitment screening exercise from 28th June to 11th July 2022. The application form for enlistment into the Nigerian Army is free. Join the Nigerian Army and contribute professionally to the defeat of all adversaries. Brigadier General Umar Abubakar, Director, Directorate of Army Recruitment, Resettlement and Reserve. Announcer.
Not 1, not 2, but 3 reasons why PROVEST is best for you. 1. You save up to 22% on your payment. 2. You get to save and invest. To save or invest. 3. In just 9 months, you get your land and documents hassle-free. ROLAD PROVEST is for you who is looking for a tangible return on your investment while saving costs.
Hurry now. Visit www.roladproperties.com/PROVEST to get started. Remember, the best time to buy land is now.
Welcome back. You're still on to Journalist Hangout, and we've been examining the rising price of diesel and the threat by the Premium Bakers Association to shut down operations over the rising cost of the product in the past few days. So before we come to our guest who is online, Mr. Emmanuel Onwara, let me quickly have your position on this, Mr. Likon Shote. What's your position on how things are have been handle or gearing up in these past few days, where we have diesel, getting out of reach of the common man, and the premium bread makers are threatening to shut down, which invariably will have a massive effect on not just the economy, but on the common man as well.
I just hope we won't have bread riots. Listen, bread, there was a time I was out of job. The most basic thing I was eating was bread and akara.
That is within reach.
Yes, that was the most basic thing within reach, until I was able to get myself out of where I found myself. You see, so if bread is out, people are going to start falling down dead, hungry on the streets if there's no bread, because there are no farms. I hope you know that. People are going to be killing people when they go to their farms. There's insecurity all over the farms throughout the country. I have a friend. He has 1,000 acres, 1,000 acres of cotton farm somewhere in the north. He told me in 2017 that I don't go to farm again. I said, why? He has a ginning factory, a ginning machine, you know, to turn the thing into yarn. He says that he cannot go. I said, why? I didn't know that Boko Haram had infiltrated the whole place. So these people, we are going to look at, we are going to be starving very, 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 very soon. The way we are running our system, the way we are running this country, or the way we are not running this country, because I don't see anybody in charge of anything in this country.
No, nothing.
You know, so there is insecurity in the rural areas. Farms are in the rural areas; they are not in the cities. And so people, you can't even go and grow things in your farm now and you cannot eat bread. And what Mr. Onoa has not told us is that a lot of people are losing their jobs. Those hands that they are employing
in the factory,
to put the bread in, to bring it out, to wrap it. Listen, I like sliced bread. There's a place I go to. When I go there, I say I want sliced. They say they don't have NEPA. Therefore, they cannot cut the bread. So I will go away. I will come back 2 days after. I have to buy the bread agege and take it home. Do you understand? Things are...
I prefer the agege bread.
Yeah. Things... Oh, you. Okay. So things are getting... closing up on us gradually on all fronts, and this I like the idea that this diesel thing is called energy. Energy is what you use to, in physics, is what you use to power whatever.
Right.
Do you understand? And then where you have energy sitting down, that is what they call potential energy. But when it starts to move, that is when we are at the stage of potential energy right now. Our energy is not taking us anywhere. Listen, there is war in Ukraine right now. We have gas. I would have thought that our government would be proactive and start loading tankers to take gas to some of these European countries. But here we sit down. Nobody is even addressing. Nobody is even talking about it.
Let's quickly have your thoughts on this issue, Mr. Baton. You know, we understand, like we rightly said before the show started, that Nigeria has about 4 or 5 refineries not totally functioning and not able to meet the daily consumption. Yet we import all the fuel we consume. Now, this already adds to the rather worrying situation. Already, Dangote refinery promises to start running by the third quarter of this year, yes. And perhaps maybe 2023 next year. But with the dynamics, what's going on right now? With the level of which petrol or crude oil is on the rise, how can we quickly nip this in the bud, seeing that it's going to affect a vast areas in our economy?
You see, it's unfortunate that people fail to plan. Nobody planned to fail. But government has failed to plan. If government has no vision, there's no way they can plan. One would have expected that the government that came here, I keep on saying in 2015 and said, we have 3 refineries that are not working. And we are going to build more refineries. Since 2015 up to today, they have not built a single one. If all the refineries are working, the 3 are working, it is enough to produce the capacity that is needed in Nigeria on the home front. But now, we still have to transport the crude out and buy the refined products at the current prevailing price in the market. So there's no way the NNPC can continue selling for you if they are buying it for $2 or $2.5 to ship it here. How can they sell it for you 165 naira here? So the situation is going to be grimmer. We are not being alarmist here. We are dealing with the reality of the situation, because nobody can say for sure when the crisis between Russia and Ukraine will be over. For as long as the crisis is there, the price of fuel in the international market will keep on going up, and the cost of importing those fuel by the NNPC.
So what's the short-term solution?
Well, the short-term solution, I don't know whether we can build a refinery. I don't know whether we can build a refinery.
It takes some time to do.
It's not possible to build a refinery. Well, the Dangote that we are expecting.
Yeah, let's just wait. But I think, in addition to this, all those people the landing cost of importing petroleum products is one. There's another cost. Those human beings who are working in NNPC and are not producing anything, they are getting paid. They are going on leave. They are getting salaries. They are getting leave bonus. They are getting.
Let's really get the thoughts of Emmanuel before we end the show. Mr. Emmanuel, you're still online, I believe. Well, quickly give us your final thoughts on what could be the best way to handle this situation.
Thank you very much, Esther. The best way to handle this situation is that government should come to our aid. Government should see what to do, because when you have energy mix in anything you are doing, it gives a lot of leverage to that industry. We depend solely on diesel. If the government on its part, could make the refineries in Nigeria work. If the 4 refineries in Warri, 1 in Warri, 2 in Port Harcourt and 1 in Kaduna are up and running today, and we are not import dependent, I don't think we'll find ourselves in this kind of situation we are finding ourselves. This is a wake-up call to the federal government that they must begin to look inward, because whether you like it or not, if we begin to add the current insecurity that we are facing in this country to food insecurity, it will exacerbate and cause a lot of distortion to this country. It's a country we love. It's a country we want to make progress. So the government, the federal government especially, must step up to its plate and ensure that the energy that Nigeria requires is domiciled in country and not depending on external vagaries.
All right, and that's a fine place to leave it. Mr. Emmanuel Onuora, National President of the Premium Bakers Association of Nigeria. We appreciate your insights with us on Journalist Hangout. And I'd like to thank my guests in the studio with me, Lekon Shote and Tunde Abaton. It's a pleasure to have your thoughts as usual on the program. And that's about it on Journalist Hangout. Don't forget to join us again tomorrow for another episode. You can watch a repeat broadcast of the show tonight at 11 and join us again on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. We are also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Esther Mokwariola. Bye for now and God bless Nigeria.